Welcome to the Visibility Vixen podcast, where we create space to grow our brand with intention and clarity, one episode at a time. Join us as we explore the many aspects of entrepreneurship, start loving the journey instead of the destination, and begin building a legacy that lasts. Here's your host, Michelle Lewis.
Lovelies, welcome back to Visibility Vixen. This is going to be a fantastic episode because we are in live streaming month. Live streaming month. I know it evokes such excitement and terror at the same time. I'm so proud of you guys for going through this month with me. And we have yet another incredible podcast guest for you today. Her name is Jen Casey. She's a business strategist coach that specializes in helping entrepreneurs in the wellness market turn their strategy into sales. So welcome, Jen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited that you're here too. For those of us that are not familiar with your work, would you mind just giving us a little lowdown in terms of what you do and who you help, and also a little bit of your journey into getting here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a business strategy coach, and I work with mainly wellness entrepreneurs. I run the Wellpreneur Business Academy along with my business partner, Angie Lee, who's been on this podcast before. We love Angie. And I also have the podcast Entrepreneur Now. So that is kind of what I'm doing at the moment. And in terms of how I came into entrepreneurship, I actually started back in the early mid-2000s doing health and wellness coaching. And just to give you a sense of how clueless I was, I think my first attempt at finding new clients consisted of hanging really ugly pick art flyers all over my college campus that promptly got ripped down the next day. Yes, that was a big blow. But yeah, so I started doing that health and wellness coaching in the online space. And then, after a couple of years of doing that and really loving it, enjoying that experience, I started to really feel this pull towards the business side of things. And I just finally stopped fighting it and began listening to it. Everyone was like, Jen, you can't be sitting and making training videos all day long about business things. And I kind of said, well, that's what I want to do. And I basically created my own position to do that. And live streaming has been the perfect platform to allow me to do that even more effectively.
That is amazing. I love it. So for those of you that have listened to the show, especially, I think it was 2 episodes ago when Angie was on it and we were joking around about the girls' night that we had. And I looked at Angie and I was like, hey, how are your tripwires? And she was like, you would love my business partner, Jen. This is Jen, guys. This is like me, but I think you're in New York, right?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, so it's me on the other side of the country. We both are these type A people that love getting into tripwires and trainings and videos and strategy. I feel like we both probably have that creative side, but I'm definitely not the person that's like, oh, I don't really care about the systems and whatever, and just, I don't even know really what my brand colors are that makes my eyes twitch.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God,
I'm sure you relate to that.
Oh my God, absolutely. And I think it's so funny too, because I know you have a background, in the industry performing. And so I began in musical theaters. So hearing your story, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this girl my actual, California twin? Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
I love you said twitching without a system. That's pretty much me. I'm like, my ducks will be in a row.
And once the systems are set up, then we have a great time. Then we can go out for wine. But the systems need to be there. Otherwise, we're not going out for wine night. We're putting our hair up in a crazy bun and in our PJs and working for 24 hours straight. I get you.
You do not leave the desk. Oh, yeah. Oh my God, I love it.
So we're going to blend our personalities in this show today and really help you with your live streaming strategy and show you what your structure should be when you're going live. Jen is a genius at this. She's fantastic on camera, but she also is really good at having that system in place so that she can speak confidently, know where it's going, and be super clear. So once you tune into her live stream, chances are you're not going to click out of it because she has a really great structure in place. So Jen, I'm going to turn this over to you. Feel free to take full control, because I know that's what we really love deep inside, and just take over this show. And I'm just going to be here listening, and I'll insert some questions if any come up in my mind.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Cool. So one of the first things when it comes to live streaming that I hear from a lot of people, the biggest concern, the biggest question that I get is, what do I say? I don't know what to talk about. And I think beginning with this is really key, because one of the biggest issues that a lot of people don't necessarily recognize is that if you're struggling to come up with content, it's not that you're not creative, it's that you don't have a clear idea of who you are speaking to, who your expertise, what is your expertise, who is your niche. You may have heard this before, but I mean, there was many times when I heard this and I kind of nodded along, and then one day it finally clicked. And coming from an acting background, you cannot sing a love song unless you know who you're singing it to. Are you singing it to your dying grandma? Are you singing it to your boyfriend? Are you singing it on your wedding day? So it's kind of like, that's really a fun way that I like to, incorporate some of that stuff too. But really having a sense of who you're speaking to. I think that is the biggest thing that people struggle with, is really getting clear on who that person is, what do they know already, what do they want to know, and really building that foundation and that content around that client avatar, your ideal client. We've probably heard some of this before, but Michelle, I love what you do too, is that you really hone in on that, the importance of being visible and building that confidence to get in front of the camera. And I think it may even begin sooner with that, which is why I love that you hone in on that. But yeah, really knowing what your expertise is and what makes you unique. I obviously work with a lot of health coaches, and their biggest thing is, well, I don't want to be vanilla like everybody else, just sharing another workout and another recipe. But if you can nail that down and say, am I speaking to that frustrated mom who's really trying to lose the last 10 pounds of baby weight? That's going to be a very different person than speaking to that person who is prepping for a bikini fitness competition and wants to chisel down and lose a little bit more body fat. If you're creating content for the woman in fitness competition mode, you're probably going to be talking about things in a very different way. So once you have the clarity on who you're speaking to, I swear you will just find that you won't be able to shut off with creativity. It's really, really amazing.
I love
that
you're talking about that. If you don't mind me just interrupting for just a second.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
How you're going to know this, it's a specific feeling. And if you've started your own Facebook group, you're going to see this a little bit more, but you can also do it looking in other Facebook groups of who's responding to your posts. But like, for example, there's this awesome woman named Cheryl who came into my group about a month ago, and she was like, hey, I'm starting to get everything set up, but I'm feeling like confused. I know I want to start with video. I know live streaming is important. I know systems. Like, where do I start? And I was like, you are my perfect ideal client. Like, I got excited because like that is your person. And usually that person is who you used to be 6 months ago, a year ago, 3 years ago. So if you're feeling confused, I'm like, well, Jen, I don't really know exactly who my ideal client is. Michelle, what on earth are you talking about? Just start kind of feeling into what your pain points used to be and how you can help resolve that. And then you're going to start being able to fine tune it, of course, down the path. But it's so important, like she said, when you're on a live, you are talking to that person, even if it is yourself in the past. Keep going, girl.
Oh my God, I love it. Yes, that is so huge. You in the past, I would say 90% of people, that is who their ideal client is. There are some people who say, well, I have always been thin and I want to teach people how to nail down their nutrition. So am I a hypocrite? I work with people who have 50 plus pounds to lose. So of course, in that scenario, you're not always going to be the person in the past, but maybe it was an uncle or a parent that went through some kind of issue or a sibling, and that's why you feel connected to serve that specific audience. So I think that's important to touch on as well, because I noticed that some people, you're like, well, this wasn't me, I never dealt with this, so does that make me unqualified? So I think that's a cool little piece, but I love it. Okay, cool. So once you know who you are speaking to, I think it's really important to write down, what does this person want from you? What do you want to teach them? And one thing that my business partner, Angie, and I do all the time is we poll our audience. Now, some of you are like, well, I don't have one yet. So this is kind of like what comes first, the chicken or the egg. But you just got to start, poll the people that you have and just ask them, if you could sit down with me for an hour and talk to me about live streaming or about nutrition or about business, what would you want to ask me? And just from that, you're going to get a sense about what people want to hear from you. So that's a great place to start if you are just kind of getting started and you're trying to figure out how to narrow this down. Okay, so let's dive a little bit into what the actual structure of the video kind of looks like. I think
Let's do it. I'm getting
I love
excited.
it. I think this for me, like really getting a nice structure, it's like once you know the rules, you can break them. But at least you go in feeling a little bit more prepared. And for those type A's out there, I feel you because the struggle is real. The struggle is real. So the first thing is that I like to do is just kind of figure out what I want to talk about for the month. Maybe I'm doing a 5-day challenge and structure out some cohesive content. Maybe the content that I'm creating is going to lead up to some kind of offer or some kind of product or purchase. So if I'm going to create, for example, a product about live streaming and it's a live stream course, well, then I'm going to sprinkle in content that's relevant to that to prime my audience and breadcrumb them to the offer. So for those of you who are even in network marketing, this is something that's going to be ongoing for you, but everything that you create, the whole purpose of social media is, our tagline, to turn your social media into sales. That's why we're here. We want income, influence, and impact. So being able to really narrow that down and get clarity on that first. So then comes the fun piece of really breaking down what am I talking about and finding those titles. Titles are so important. And that's what's going to stop someone. And of course, your visuals as well. But really, the title is what is going to grab someone's attention. This is such an important piece. And I think a lot of people really struggle with this. But as a general overarching rule, I think focusing in on the pain and pleasure points right up front and making it specific, that's like the rule of thumb. If you go with that, you'll probably have a better title than 90% of the people out there. But I see a lot of people who will be like, their title says, "Here's my breakthrough story," or "What I learned today." And it's like, okay, but as a consumer, do I actually want, as a consumer, it's like, why do I care? So what? I would say give it the so what test. So it might be the difference, even in the context of being a business coach, it's the difference between saying, do you want to stand out online? Which is okay. Some people are like, yes. But if I say, hey, health coach, are you struggling to stand out among a sea of acai bowl pictures, clean eating challenges, and protein shake selfies? If you want to learn how to stand out among all of that, click here or whatever it is. So with that, I'm like, really, they know I'm speaking directly to them. And I'm so clear about what their pain and pleasure points are. They really want to stand out, and they are already doing all of the things that they are quote unquote supposed to do. And now they're in the place where they're ready for some tangible answers. So that's just one example of how you might do that. And you can also include story in your titles and testimonials and say, I cannot believe Carol lost 50 pounds in 2 months doing this.
I love it.
And also people are like, well, what'd they do? What happened?
Yeah,
so if
I need to know.
I must know if you're that client that wants to do that. So, it's really asking yourself before you even press live, why would someone click play? And I think that figuring out and finding the right titles, you're not always going to get them perfect. And, there are some days where I'm running out of time and I'm like, I don't know, whatever. Like, I got to get it out there. And that's the most important thing. So don't get stuck on saying, well, I couldn't think of a good title, so I wasn't able to press play today. I wasn't able to press live. Don't let that become you.
Yeah.
These are all guidelines. You will 100% get better as you go. So the titles, that's the first piece. That's how you grab someone's attention in. Then, how do you begin? And I think a lot of people get really intimidated by the way that they start the video and the way that they end it. They end up kind of flubbing and floundering a bit, trying to figure out how to explain what they're going to talk about. And actually, one thing that I do all the time is I set up on my little whiteboard just the bullet points of what I'm going to talk about. So I'll have my title, and then I'll have everything else. So I'm going to go through all of those things. So you've got whatever you're going to say. Usually you can begin a video effectively, I think, in 3 main ways. One is you qualify people. So I'll say, hey, health coach, do you want to blah, blah, blah? Or I will begin with, if you are ready to turn your social media into sales, today is for you, right? Or I will begin just straight out the gate with a story, with a really juicy part of the story. And this is something that a lot of people will say, well, if I begin with a story, won't most of my people not jump on right away? Won't they miss the beginning? And the answer is yes, but it kind of doesn't matter, because if it's a good story, they want to know what happened in the beginning. So they'll go back and watch your replay. And especially if you're just beginning the process of really building your live streams, most of the time you're going to get more traction on the replay views as opposed to the live in the moment happening. So
absolutely.
yeah, I think that's 3 really great ways to start your video. Don't be the person who waits 15 minutes before they begin because they're waiting for people to come on. You know, saying hello to people in the beginning is fine, but really be mindful about the replay viewer, because that is where the most, you know, you're going to get the most traction out of that, especially in the beginning. So that's how you kind of begin your video. You tell people what they're going to get right out the gate, so they can immediately say, this is for me or this isn't for me, right? So then after you give them that, hey, are you here? Are you ready to learn about how to turn your social media into sales? If you are excited about this, say this is for you, right? Whatever. And then we go into the expert positioning. And this is where you quickly introduce yourself. And you can kind of move this piece around a little bit. I like to do it right in the front. So I'll say, if you don't know who I am, my name is Jen Casey. I am a business strategy coach, and I help online entrepreneurs, specifically those in the wellness field, turn their social media into sales. So immediately people know who I am and what I do. So if they are already a business coach, maybe this is something they do. Maybe they're not super interested in watching me, or maybe they are, right? Then we go into what we are going to speak about. So number 1 is your title, you writing it and actually verbally saying it or qualifying people. Step 2 is your expert positioning. And then step 3 is now getting into what you are actually going to teach people. So these are your 1 to 3 main bulleted points. Don't try to teach people everything in one video.
Please don't. Please. You're just going to hurt yourself.
Yeah. It's, like, pick one thing. It doesn't have to be a super long video. I think right now videos around 18 minutes, 15 to 18 minutes are doing the best, especially for live and replay. So give 1 to 3 things. And if you're just beginning doing live stream and you're a little bit nervous, don't overcomplicate it for yourself. Really just stick with even 1 quick bulleted point that you really want to make. Maybe throw in a little bit of story into that and really use that to highlight the point that you're going to make. But the more simple you can keep it, the more concise you can be, the more clearly and confidently you can communicate your message, the more likely you are to get people to tune in next time, which is the goal. You really want to build that tribe and have people stay on live with you. I think it's really important too to leave them with the sense of that they want more. Because if they want more, they're going to go to your website, they're going to listen to whatever you said to do and follow up with you in the future. And you can also then throw in a quick recap if you went on a little bit long and say, by the way, these were the 3 points, boom, boom, boom. And then you give your call to action. This is where you tell people where they should go next. This is one of those things that so many people miss out on because they don't know how to end it. And they'll say, thanks for watching, talk to you later, bye. And
people are like, what? Okay.
Yeah. I've heard some interesting endings. I don't know if you have some funny ones, I'm sure, of different ones that you've heard.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. I mean, I've done that. I remember when I first started live streaming, and first you're like, oh, I really want someone to tune in. I really want someone to tune in. And then halfway through, you see that little 1 come up, and you're like, oh, my God. Someone's watching. Oh, so yeah, like, I don't know, okay, and it was really great, okay, bye. Like, it's normal, it's going to happen. You are going to humiliate yourself. I have done a live stream where my iPad, like, toppled over and crashed, like, on the ground. I was doing my Company on Camera challenge, and it was like, bump, 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 bump. And, like, my cat and my dog were on. It was intense. But it helped everyone that was on the challenge who's trying to get more comfortable on camera. They're all laughing because they're like, oh my gosh, if she can make an absolute fool of herself, I can't do any words, right? So
exactly.
It's okay. It's a process, guys.
Oh my God, I love it. Yeah, that is like my favorite thing. People will say, well, what if I mess up or what if I say the wrong thing? And I think that's the beautiful thing about live, that no take backs, like whatever comes out of your mouth, whatever happens, happens. And I feel like you can get such a better sense of who someone is and really connect with them on such a deeper level, because you can't hide behind cute editing and jump cuts and all this other magic. It's just like, you are who you are, this is what you get, take it or leave it.
Absolutely.
I remember there was one time where people will say, what do I do if I mess up? And I'm like, well, how would you act in real life? Would you laugh and be silly? Would you keep rolling? If you were speaking to your best friend, how would you act? Like, that's how you should react on live video, because your audience needs to feel like they are your best friend, or they're right with you. And I remember one time I was talking about something and talking about social media, and instead of saying Twitter, I said Titter, and I just rolled with it.
I would have just laughed for like 2 minutes and been like, okay.
Normally I would have been like, see you guys, okay. But I was like in the middle of a deep thought. So that was like the one time where I was just like, I'm just going to keep plowing through. And I thought no one really noticed. And then one of my really good entrepreneur friends Facebook messaged me and she was like, oh, Jen, should I get on the Titter? And I was like, dang it. It's like, I thought no one noticed, but.
Oh my gosh, love it. I love it.
These are the moments that make it all worthwhile. See, but then this is like I always say, like the greatest flubs are your greatest teachable moments.
Yeah.
So true. I'm always like, I'm always excited about a good flub. I feel like those are great war stories, and I wear my scars proudly.
I think that's a great point. I was actually doing a live in another group today, and it was like earlier in the morning, and so it was like my mouth wasn't warmed up yet. So it was like there were 5 different words that I was like, and you just stop. You say it again. Like, it's okay. This is what actors do. This is what news anchors do. This is what theater people do. You're going to get used to it, and you have to learn to take the embarrassment out of it. No, it's going to happen. You're guaranteed that you're going to flub. You're guaranteed you're going to do something embarrassing. And you just have to make the choice to go, okay, and just keep moving. Like, I promise you'll survive. If, like what she said, if I was viewing that, I would be laughing so hard. Like, my endearment, my know, like, and trust of Jen would have shot straight through the roof, right? So it's okay, and sometimes it's to your best benefit to make a flub.
Oh my gosh, I love that. It's so true, because and I think actors are very similar to entrepreneurs in this, and we really, especially when you have been in it for a while, like I said, it almost becomes like your best war stories, your badge of honor. It's a rite of passage to just have these really epic fail moments.
Yeah.
But newbie actors and newbie entrepreneurs are like so terrified they have to be perfect. But then when you actually speak to someone who's doing it, they're like, oh my gosh, you're gonna tell this at so many parties, It's like, it's the best. Yeah. I love it.
Absolutely. So, oh my gosh. I remember this when my dad worked in film, and so I'd follow him on film sets, and he was shooting Mission Impossible 2 in Australia, and we were all like, it was my first time visiting on set. So I got to meet Tom Cruise, and it was so exciting for me, right? And so he's like doing his jumping jacks before the take, and he's like, you ready to watch? This is going to be awesome. I'm like, oh yeah, right? And he runs, and he has to run up these 3 steps and jump out of this porthole to outside. So he runs and he takes step 1, step 2, like hits his toe and like slams straight into the wall and just disappears behind the stairs. And we're all just like, I mean, it lasted maybe 2 minutes, and then all you hear behind there is, I'm all right, it's all good, I'm all right. Got out, everyone had a great laugh, and like it brought more energy to the entire crew for the next take. So I think, you can definitely use it to fuel energy on your live, because people, they like to laugh, they like to be entertained, and they like to know that you're a human being. So mess it up. It's okay, guys.
Oh my God, I love it. That's such a great story. See? That's the best. Yeah, so I mean, especially when you're doing live, I think really bringing in that element of being able to interact with people as well. Like, they're going to ask questions that maybe you didn't prepare for. And I know that's a big fear of a lot of my clients and a lot of people when it comes to live stream, that they're like, well, what if I don't know the answer? What if I'm not expert enough? And it's like, you know what? You just roll with it. And if you really read something that you're like, that person's a hater, or that person, I don't know what that means, you just scroll right past it and don't answer it, So engaging with people, just kind of go recap back. So we had titles, expert positioning, having great points, doing your teaching moment, answering your questions, giving them a recap of what you talked about, and then the call to action. And this is where you basically tell them where to go next. So if you end a live and maybe your topic, like for me, it would be about social media, I'm going to tell people to go to check out a freemium that's related to that topic. Or, you can tell people to come join your Facebook group. A lot of you maybe aren't into email marketing, don't have freemiums and landing pages, opt-ins. You're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Create a Facebook group, create a little hub where people can go.
Send them to your Twitter, send them to your YouTube channel, send them all over the place.
Oh my gosh, yep. Somewhere that you can, or, some people will say if you're interested in learning more, type I'm in below, or yes, give me more info. And then you can collect their information that way and also boost engagement on your video simultaneously.
Dun, dun, dun. Absolutely. I think that this is a great point to bring up, because this is actually something that I've started to do, especially when I'm guest live streaming in other groups. If someone contacts me and says, can you please come in and talk to us and blah, 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 I would be absolutely happy to. But I'm also going to believe that this situation is mutual benefit. So that means, I'm hitting my little filter. That means that in the description before I go live, because I usually go live from my desktop, I'm putting in the juicy title, I'm putting in my mini bio, and I'm putting in at least 2 options for them to take action. So one of them is usually to be added to my list, and the other one is to either go to my channel or go to my Facebook group. And that way, as someone's sitting there, having to endure watching me for 10 to 20 minutes, they can be scrolling through that description and maybe click over or open the link in a new tab or something. Like, give them these options, because then they're going to look at you and go, wow, like she's an expert, like she's super credible, right? So it's a really good thing to do, and get in that practice. Like, share more information than you think you need to, because people want to connect with you, but you have to make it so easy for them to do so.
Oh my God, I love that. Yep, you have to make it easy for them. And I mean, honestly, if you've just spent 20 minutes or 10 minutes nurturing someone and providing amazing value, and then you don't tell them what to do, they're going to get distracted and go start following someone else.
Yeah.
Giving people direction after a webinar, a live video, any interaction, it's not bossy. You are giving them what they want. You've just provided them with value. If they stuck around for that 10 to 20 minutes, they're ready for the next step. They want to know how they can continue to work with you and continue to learn from you. So I think that's such a beautiful thing that, and it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Some people will have, their freemium or a Facebook group, but it could be to send people to another social media platform. Absolutely. I will say, I wouldn't recommend sending people in circles. Definitely send them to the platform that you're actively trying to build. So if your main focus right now is to build your Facebook like page and really start doing live video on there, or it's Instagram, or it's YouTube, or Pinterest, or whatever it is, let that be your call to action, but know that you're sending them there with purpose. Because one of the things that I see a lot of people do, and they're like, I'm spinning my wheels on social media. What am I doing wrong? And they're just going, hey, you're on my Facebook, go look at my Instagram. Oh, you're on my Instagram, go look at my Pinterest. Oh, you're on my Pinterest, go check my YouTube. And it's like, to what end? Like, at what point do you actually capture that person's information and, either sell them something or continue to nurture that relationship in a more private, deeper way? So I think, my business partner and I, we really teach like either growing your Facebook group as well as growing your email list, and really having a way to capture their information so that you're not just wondering, are people watching? Does anyone like my stuff?
Totally. Oh my goodness. So probably the biggest question, because we do have some type A's listening, of course, but we also have some type B's. And they're like, well, I'm really great in the back end of my business. I'm really great at building, the trainings and the PowerPoint videos and all of that stuff. But the idea of actually turning on a camera, be it a video camera, I can maybe get on board with, because then I can edit myself. But going live makes me absolutely want to pee in my pants. So what do you tell your health coaches that really, really struggle with that fear because they're more of an introverted personality?
Oh gosh, yeah, this is huge. And I'm an introvert as well. And I will say, even though I had experience on stage performing, getting on camera was something that I avoided like the plague. I was like, nope, not for me. I don't like how I look. I don't like how I sound. Not going to happen. And I think it's just really You have to start with any skill. No one comes out of the womb being an expert in anything, unless you're like a savant or whatever. But, at the end of the day, everyone who's at some level of greatness is at that level because they've spent time practicing. They've spent time mastering and honing their craft. So for those of you who are terrified to begin, maybe beginning on your live, doing a live on your personal page or your business page, that you might actually have a heart attack. Okay, well, you probably won't die. And I promise you, if you do it, you'll feel a rush unlike anything else.
I think those are great tips. And I think with anything, practice does make perfect. It's never going to be perfect, but I think if you can just release the fear, know that, because a lot of people say, well, what if I don't look great? Or what if people judge me? And I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to judge you. But that doesn't mean that they're going to judge you in a bad way. Like, it can be good or bad. And like, that's okay. You're meant to reach the people that you're meant to reach. So I'm going to have you wrap this up because the gardener's going by again. I'm hitting you. Go.
The most beautiful things that any teacher ever said, he's like, when you get up in front of people, don't apologize. Apologizing is this is kind of a tangent, but a lot of people will be not necessarily verbally apologetic. Maybe they will say, oh, I'm sorry, my house is a mess. Oh, my kids are yelling. But they'll also apologize with their physicality. And this is a whole other topic. But when you get in front of people, come into it the mentality that you are providing value. So you're just essentially not verbally saying it, but going, you're welcome. You're welcome. Because you are showing up in a way that most people are unwilling to show up, especially with live video. There is so many eyeballs to get in the online space right now. More and more people are jumping on live, but there is still quite a bit of vacancy going on because a lot of people are scared, and what are people going to think of me, and what if I mess up, and all of these things. And I know for myself, and I'm sure you have probably experienced this as well with live video, that like I would not be in this position in my business today if Facebook live video did not come out. I can say that without a shadow of a doubt, because it has just allowed me and my business partner Angie to connect with our audience in such an incredible, deep way, and really show up in such a consistent way, and they've really gotten to know us so much more quickly. And it's just like, it makes me crazy when people don't want to get on live. I'm like, can I come to your house and shake you? Because it's everything. It's so important. And I mean, it's not going to stay like this forever. Eventually we'll all be on live. So you might as well bite the bullet and jump in now,
Well, and I think just the stats, even from 2016, I mean, people want to see video. I'm sorry, if you rocket text, like, that's fantastic. Use it in your captions and use it in your courses, but people want to see you. It's just like when you purchase a product, you're more likely to purchase it if you see the inventor's face and in a video. Like, it's what people want to see. So the same thing is true on your Facebook. Remember that you're, in a way, you're selling all the time. And I'm not saying to do it in a cheesy way, but you're having to present yourself across all of your social media, because guess what? This is your online business. So to do live is so extremely important. So just trust us. Jen has done a fantastic job today explaining the structure of doing live, so that'll take the fear of not knowing what to say out of the equation. And now you can kind of go, okay, at least I can start practicing. If you're really scared, practice. Just hit record on your phone and do a couple of things. I definitely recommend practicing your mission statement over and over again until you can just get it to pop out of your mouth, like you heard Jen say, to be able to introduce yourself really confidently. That's the hardest part, guys. At least for me, still, it's like, okay, I'm Michelle Lewis and I'm a visibility expert, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, I nailed it, right?
Nailed it.
Because the rest can be a little bit more off the cuff. So I think fear is always false evidence appearing real. Remember that you're qualified. Remember that you have to claim your turf. You have to sit there and go, this is my turf. I'm standing on it. I can talk confidently about this because I've been there. Otherwise, you'd see people like Jen and I claiming to be a business coach or a visibility expert and then being like, well, but then there's Marie Forleo. Like, I'm not as good as Marie Forleo. It would take away all of our power. So remember, don't give up your power. Don't let it go just because you see someone that's maybe a little bit better than you, because you can minister to people that aren't quite to where you're at. That's what coaching is all about. So I think, Jen, you've done such a fantastic job. Are there any tips that you'd like to give before we sign off to just give people a little bit more encouragement for where they're at?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, I mean, you were just kind of saying not to compare yourself to other people. I think that that's so important to remember that, not everyone is looking for the same thing. And I think a lot of people get into the mindset, oh gosh, if I get on video, I have to be bubbly and fun and over the top. And all of a sudden their vocal inflections are like, hey guys, hi, so-and-so. And it's like, whoa, and we can honestly, as human beings, not to frighten you, but we can smell that inauthenticity from a mile away. Mm-hmm. And so if you are someone that's a little bit more monotone or a little bit more introverted, it's not that you suddenly need to be sunshine and smiles when you get on camera. We don't want you to become someone else. Yes, definitely bring your energy up because you want to keep people engaged, but that doesn't mean you have to create tension in your voice and make yourself sound like Minnie and Mickey Mouse or whatever. It's just about really owning who you are, stepping into that authentic self, and not worrying about how you look in comparison to someone else. Because if you're comparing the way that you present a live to another, this is the way that, I do a live or Michelle does a live, we're not going to be the same. And just to kind of say one more thing, the way that I teach live and the way that I do my lives is a very structured, it's a very educational style. And there's people, look at the celebrities, they jump on, they're off the cuff. People love it. There's no one right way to do a live. What I wanted to share today was really to give you some system and structure for those of you who are doing more education style videos, who really want to just have a framework so that, you can get on with a little bit more confidence. But now that you know the rules, you know how it goes, you can test it out, kind of learn it, master it, and then you can do whatever the heck you want, and let it just be fun.
So we're pushing you out of the nest. Go fly. Go
fly.
Fly, my birdies. Well, I love that. Jen, thank you so much for being here today and giving us those tips and tricks. There's no one right way to do a live stream, but you are going to find your right way, and you're going to feel more comfortable and more confident. So like she said, take our instruction and then make it your own, because our whole goal is to send you out there to up your visibility so you can start monetizing your passion. So Jen, thank you for being here. I'm going to invite you back on the show one day, so brace yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. And everyone, I hope you're enjoying Live Streaming Month. You can feel free to check out what freebie, by the way, are we going to be giving the listeners today?
We can send them to socialmedia2sales.com.
Okay.
That's a little live stream style strategy that I put together. Teaches you how to repurpose your videos, so that'll be fun.
I love repurposing. Oh my gosh, we're twins.
Yay!
Okay. So we'll have all those links below where you can follow Jen, where you can get that free training. Thank you so much for being here, darling. And everyone, make this a passionate week. Have purpose and start going live. And let Jen and I know. Send us the link so we can see. We would love to see you go live. And we will catch you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening in today to the Visibility Vixen podcast. Subscribe now and share with a fellow Vixen who wants to start building their visibility. For more fire in your life and brand, visit visibilityvixen.com.